all right, I want to hold myself accountable here. I do quality control for the 49ers. They don't pay me, and I'm not in the organization. And I'm pretty sure they don't pay attention to everything I say. So maybe it's not my fault. But I was really adamant last year that Deebo Samuel was a problem and needed to go. And they got rid of him. And I applauded them for doing that. I just have to point out, though, that I think I might have been wrong. Sorry. First of all, I just want to say sorry. But here's the thing with Deebo. Even if he's out of shape and unmotivated because the Niners won't give him the extension that he wants, and they know that he knows they're going to trade him, which is what happened, defenses still have to worry about him. And they do. So when the Niners are at the 6-yard line and he goes in, motion before the snap, like he might get an end around or it might be a jet sweep, that makes Christian McCaffrey's life easier. Did you notice that Christian's best years came with Deebo on the field? Like, Christian's always been good, but life was a lot harder for him in Carolina than it was when he came to the Niners and defense had to worry about him and Deebo. Now that Deebo's gone, Christian's not good anymore, or at least not productive. 3.1 yards per carry. He's still good, but I bet you'd be averaging more like 4.5 yards per carry if Deebo were running in motion before snaps. When you got rid of Deebo, you got rid of a guy who is an elite decoy, has gravity because people watch him, scores touchdowns, helps your red zone offense, and you replace him with Ricky Pearsall, who's probably better than Deebo when healthy, but Deebo's healthy. Ricky's hurt. And the thing about Ricky, he's explosive. He's got juice. He's hard to cover man-to-man. He scored 0 touchdowns this year. He gives you nothing in the red zone. And what the Niners' problem right now is, it's not their quarterbacks. It's really not even their offensive line. It's their red zone offense. They can't score touchdowns. They have to get to the 1-yard line to punch it in. And I think that's a personnel issue. Like, Kyle Shanahan's creative and he's smart and he's a good coordinator, but for the since 2019, he's been relying on Deebo. And we've seen it for years. When he had Deebo on the field, he looked really creative and his stuff worked. When Deebo would miss time, when he'd miss a game, when he'd miss a drive, everything was harder for Kyle. We're seeing it this year. I am so sorry for giving Kyle the wrong advice here, but I think in retrospect, the move would have been to keep Deebo, not extend him. You want him in that contract here. Keep Deebo, trade Ayuk. Because Ayuk is replaceable. Ricky can do the things Ayuk did. No one can do the things that Deebo did. And now, to me, the guy who's most equipped to replace the Deebo role is Christian. They should move him full-time to slot receiver. He should be going in motion every snap. From one side of the formation to the other, from slot left to slot right, going ghost motion behind the running back. You ever see a guy doing 3-card Monty and he takes one of the cards and flashes it in front of your face? That's Christian. Just lining him up in the backfield and say, go run between the tackles, it's not working anymore. Can you stop? It might work if you still had Deebo Samuel on the team, but you don't. So make Christian the new Deebo, the gadget player, the guy who goes in motion, because you know how I feel about putting the fullback in motion. It doesn't scare anyone. No one cares. No one's looking at him. He doesn't matter. Put someone in motion who matters. 23. Was he a good receiver today? What did he do as a receiver? 7 catches for 57 yards. That's not getting it done. Kendrick Bourne and Jake Tonjes are making a bigger impact on this team than Christian McCaffrey. Every time they give the ball to Christian McCaffrey, they're doing the other team a favor. 17 carries for 54 yards, favor. 8 targets for 57 yards, favor. You got to mix in something else. He's just not efficient enough. He's not explosive. He's not productive enough. None of it. I thought Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, Travarius Ward, Jordan Mason, those were the guys that they gave up that they shouldn't have. But no, it was Deebo. And it's because of Kyle. We think of Kyle as being this top offensive mind. But really, on the Niners, the only times he's been that top offensive mind is with Deebo on the field. His offense was pretty bad in 2017 and 2018. It took off in 2019. Why? They drafted him. No one else has anyone like Deebo. You can't prepare for him in practice whatsoever. The first quarter, defensive backs are legitimately shocked by how difficult it is to tackle him. A lot of guys go the whole game without wanting to tackle him. I sincerely apologize for telling Kyle to trade Deebo because Kyle needs Deebo. Deebo apparently doesn't need Kyle, but Kyle needs Deebo. And without Deebo, Kyle is struggling to find ways to score touchdowns. What is his go-to way to score a touchdown in 2025? Get the ball to the 1 yard line and then hope and pray that Christian can just push it in? Pretty much. Entirely too difficult to score touchdowns now. In the past, when he had Deebo, how many times would Kyle call either a run or an end around or a jet sweep or a screen from the 16-yard line from Deebo? He'd make one tackle and score. That's the easiest way to score. It's the easy button. They don't have that anymore. Does that mean that Kyle's the worst coach? I don't know. I think it puts his creativity in perspective. Deebo was his muse on this team. Just like Julio Jones was on the Falcons once upon a time. It was Deebo. Deebo's not what he used to be, but I don't know what Kyle is going to be without Deebo. At least we're seeing it. Does that make me a hypocrite? I just want to be accurate, and I think that's the accurate take. PrizePicks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code Cohn, C-O-H-N, and download the app now. Alfred says, Jair Brown has to go. He broke Fred's ankle. Ken Norton Jr. broke Bryant Young's leg, man. It happens. Friendly fire. Chris Bond says 2 turnovers to 0, 1 missed field goal. That is the 11-point difference. Maybe Niners still lose, but those turnovers led to points. Well, okay, you could have had Alex Smith out there, not throwing the ball, checking it down, throwing it away. You still would have lost. You're going to lose this game. 2 touchdowns to completely wide open receivers, you're going to lose. You're facing a quarterback like that without a pass rush or a middle line, you're going to lose. But you could blame it on, you could say the Niners beat themselves. I don't think the Niners beat themselves in this game. I think they lost to a superior opponent. Is that a hot take? It felt like they beat themselves against Jacksonville. They were at home. Jacksonville's quarterback is Trevor Lawrence, who's okay. He's not bad. He's not Baker. You're on the road facing Baker without Fred Warner or Bosa. You had Fred Warner against Trevor Lawrence. You didn't have Fred Warner against Baker. Guess what? You lost. Mike Partridge says, Michael Williams, get a sack, son. He did get a sack. How about that? First career one. Dazza says, is Garendo still on the team? He is, and I saw him after the game getting food. He seemed hungry. You know what I'm saying? They don't even let him return kicks anymore. What the hell did he do? They loved him last year. They freaking loved Garendo last year. I loved him. I was singing his name here and there, left and right. Now they don't let me. Maybe it's because I was singing. Maybe they don't like me singing. I have a good voice. Zantastic X says oil up. No. David Baker says get a center. A little late. Mike Parch says last decent O-line, Harbaugh era. Yeah, he didn't mess around with that. That was a good O-line. Chris Bond says with this O-line, it's like the Niners sent out Mac Jones to take a beating and die, and then bring back Purdy with other starters. It does kind of feel like they threw him out to the Wolves, and then next week they can say, we got Brock back. But here's the thing. If Brock struggles against the Falcons, what do they do? What do they do? That wouldn't be good. Kajon25 says, use CMC like we use Deebo. Get James in there. Mike Partridge says CMC in the slot. Wide receiver Garendo, running back. I agree with that. Herc Army OSRS says, are we still high on Kosaric? D-line just seems sluggish outside of Bosa. I think Chris Kosaric is the most overrated coach on the team, even more than the head coach, who's doing pretty good this year. Daz says, Deebo was on the team last year, though, and our offense sucked as well as sucking in the red zone. Did it suck this much? Well, Christian was out. That's part of it. I think the combination of Christian and Deebo on the field together was kind of the Niners' special sauce. And just one or the other, that's their identity, was the Christian Deebo duo, two guys who play two positions who defenses have a tough time preparing for because no one has players like that in their scout team.